Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
A lot of people fascinated by the work that mediums do when they connect to the other side. Information gets validated, and then you wonder, how do you practice that? Is it you just keep doing it and you get better at it? A guy I have here today delivers those messages, but also teaches people on how to do it. Does practice make perfect? We're going to find out with Tim Medium. He's back with us. Hi, Tim. How you doing?
Great, Steve. How are you? Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's great to have you back here. And you've been doing this for a long time. You've been teaching for a long time. How did you hone your skills? We've talked before about opening yourself up, being able to read the messages that come to you, but how do you practice that? Is it just continually doing it? Are you watching other people, other mediums?
For me, it was when I started, it was certainly a combination of many different things, but watching other mediums perform their skill and their task was something that is extremely beneficial to not only me, but of course, I pass it along to all my students as well. It's just not one particular medium that's going to show you the way. There's so much for us to learn through other developed mediums or developing mediums, and even the ones that are just coming up. And there's a lot that they have to offer, and a lot I take from my tutors in the past, for sure.
So when you watch another medium deliver messages, they do it in a certain way. Everybody has a different style. Are you reverse engineering it? Like they say something in a certain way, and then in your mind, as a fellow medium, are you thinking about what they may have experienced to deliver that message the way that they did it?
That's a very unique way to put it, actually, because you do exactly that. You go back into what they have delivered and how they delivered. Now, there's also something called double linking. Now, when other mediums work, sometimes you can just dial into exactly who they're working with in the spirit world and get that information as well. Now, when you do that, and I do that with my class, every class, and that's probably why they get so paranoid, because they know exactly who I got, and sometimes I go into that, but that's very now. But going on to exactly the question, I guess, is reverse engineering is a good way to put it, because that's exactly what you do. You go back and see how they created the delivery. Now from that delivery, exactly where they went from that delivery, from that one portion of what the spirit is showing them also is something what the spirit shows them next. Now, are they blending? Are they just picking out of the umbrella? What are they doing? Yes.
When you're watching another medium, let's say they're reading somebody that's in front of them and you're just observing. Have you picked up on the actual transmission from spirit to the medium? It's almost like, eavesdropping. Has that ever happened?
All the time.
Wow.
For me, my students get a little bit nervous because I double link. Yes. And I can connect with the spirit they have. So in my school, what I do is I'll help the student with, well, did you see this and did you see that? Or now by seeing what you've seen, what else did they show you? And to where they want to go in a certain direction, as the spirit would take you in a different direction. So yeah, you do that. I do that.
Wow.
It's there. It's there for the students to learn as well. Everybody can do it. It's a learning. Once you tap into it once, and you should be able to revisit it. Yes.
I'm going to share a story, and it's kind of in the same territory. Leave out the names, but I was doing a radio interview with a fairly well-known psychic. And this is going back probably the 90s, late 90s, somewhere around there. Another psychic who was up and coming wanted to be in the studio as a favor just to watch this guy do his thing. So the young new psychic was in the corner, and we have the established psychic doing the reading on the phone for somebody. We're live on the radio. And the established psychic was having a little trouble picking up on names and things like that. The young and upcoming psychic, who became huge, by the way, gets up off the floor and says, it's Uncle Giuseppe. And then the established psychic said, yeah, I'm getting it. Uncle Giuseppe is his name. Was spot on. The other guy was feeding him the answers during the reading. So I guess that, and when I asked that first question, I forgot about that situation, but that's kind of what was going on. The one psychic was picking up on it, and again, phone call. There's no way that anything was set up. This was just a random call that we answered. Somebody wanted a reading, but one was feeding the other one the answers, and I found that, wow, fascinating how you can pick up at the same time.
Is very true. Yes, that's exactly how it works. That's how exactly what you just said, how double linking works.
Oh.
Now, again, I'm going to go back to it because most everybody who practices this type of work, who understands this type of work, should be able to connect with the spirit that's present at that moment, because all they have to do is take a look back and see that's just what they're capable of doing. That's what their abilities are. Yeah.
When you say take a look back and see, how do you mean that?
Uh, okay. For me, it's I see them. So for me, I just take now, not everybody can see. Not everybody can see. Some people feel better. So it's your muscles, right? And going back to your muscles, which are your clairs. And everybody's unique in their own way on how they connect with the spirit world or spirit or psychic work or however you want to go about it. But typically, what I typically do is I'll go to the student, my student, my very first class. I'll ask them a simple question. Just read me like I walked in the door at your house and you don't know me. And it's not what they get, but it's how they're getting it that tells me that their strength and what they use and what they fall back on in a certain situation, because you always go to your strength regardless, and those will be your muscles, right? So everybody's a little different in that way, and nobody reads the same. You're going to connect differently, you're going to see, you're going to feel differently. Ultimately the messages are going to be relatively the same, sometimes not, but yeah.
So a question on that. When you have that student give you what they're getting, are they just not trained or anything? It's just like, what are you getting? What are you feeling? Tell me what you're feeling. Like could you say that about me? All right, Steve, look at me. What are you getting from
Absolutely.
me?
Absolutely. I would ask you just, what are you getting from me, Steve? And I'll just write down, and then I'll go over it after with you. And
Hmm.
what are you getting? Just tell me what you're getting. Give me 5 things, just one word at a time.
I'm trying to block out the blocks. Um,
Anything. Just like I walked into your house for the first time and you don't know me.
do you have any rooms that are green in your house?
Okay.
Don't You don't have to answer. Just go. Because I don't know.
No,
I'm s-
no,
I'm
no. Just
I'm
give me the
seeing
next
that.
one. Just
Um,
yeah, just give me the next one.
and I'm trying to think of you and see if I can feel something coming from you.
Yeah.
Um, I have something about your mother. I don't know if she's here or not. Um, she was a huskier woman. I don't know why I'm getting that. And I'm trying to like factor stuff out here and not just,
Sure.
I don't want to just say something to say something. I'm not doing that. I'm like, what am I feeling, from you? And I'm not trying to, you know, look at, oh, he's wearing a t-shirt. Hey, do you have other t-shirts? Come
That's
on.
right.
Um,
That's right.
hmm.
Now, when I go back on this, if I may, so how did you get green? You've seen it, so your
I saw
clairvoyance
it.
would be in action. That was the first thing. So now I'm going to go to the word mother. How did you get mother? Did you see her as well, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah. I looked at your face and I saw a female and I felt very close connection. So I felt female.
Okay, perfect. So, and the third one you've seen as well. That
Uh,
has to
I,
be a woman.
I don't know why. I had a flick of like, just
You
that,
just knew it.
yeah, not large, but just, not a frail woman, just a little larger.
I'm not going to hurt my feelings by what you're saying. This is just getting
Yeah.
information from you. It's perfect. It's perfect, right?
I'm just
That's
kind of winging
exactly
along
how it
here.
works.
I've never done this
So,
before.
so that's great. So the first two were clairvoyant. So basically, what you're telling me is you see quite clearly, and that's what you fall back on because you didn't know the exercise. Now, the exercise was more for me than it was for you. And I always tell people, you're not going to hurt my feelings when you tell me what you see. You might not like what I see, or you might love what you see. But ultimately, it's not. That's not the exercise. The exercise is which muscles you're using because typically I know the exercise, but you don't know the exercise. So you're going to fall back on your strengths. Of course, you're
And
going
I
to
don't even know what
use
my
your
strengths are.
strengths.
I don't even know what they are. Your Zen spot, when you like to think, there's a favorite park not far away from where you live, and you go there.
I do.
Yeah, just like
There you go.
don't lie to me. Don't lie.
No,
Seriously.
I would never lie
I
to
see you
anyone. I have
walking.
no,
I see you walking in a park and on a regular basis, and you go there just to disconnect. Um, and you feel very comfortable there. And I'm just seeing, I don't know, like I see a circle. I don't know. That's, I'm just seeing a visual. I don't know what it is. I know nothing about you, by the way. I don't even know your family history, brothers, sisters, anything like that. But I did just get a sister vibe. I don't know. Do you have a
there you
sister?
go. I have one in the spirit world, Steve, actually, to be honest with you. And now all you would need to do is just relax a little bit and just give me more information on it doesn't matter what you get. Just give me what you get. Now, don't think about my sister. Don't think of anything because once you're thinking, you're out.
Okay.
Then, right?
And
If you want
that's
to go to the place where the quiet is, the place where the magic happens, right?
and that's what's happening. I'm trying to get a visual of her. My mind is putting pieces together and I don't want it to. I just want it to just flow. Um, but what keeps coming at me, very happy person, very jovial sister.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know why I'm getting that, but I'm getting that. I see red. I
Okay.
see the color red. I see flowers. I don't know why I'm getting that. And I'm just telling you what images are popping in my head. I don't know if
That
that means
okay.
anything. Again,
Well,
it's generic. Again,
they
I'm a newbie.
no, don't ever think of the first two words in mediumship is surrender and trust. Surrender
Wow, there
to
you
the
go.
spirit world and trust what you're getting. Now, the things that you're getting, Steve, are things that they are sending you. You're not getting that by chance. Something happens by chance. So when they send you things, and of course you said it, you're a newbie, so you won't know why you're getting things, okay? But what you're getting is a spirit sending you information on who's here. That's typically how they start. Now, when you go into my sister and she's smiling now, that's a certain time of her life, and I can dial specifically into that time of life with her. Okay. Now, and I'm not saying that's my sister, but you had brought her in. She was clearly here because you wouldn't know that otherwise. You absolutely wouldn't
I
have
don't know
a
why. I
clue.
can't even give you an
Yeah.
answer. And
So
I keep getting red and white flower, but on a dress, like she wore dresses. I don't know why I'm seeing that. You
when
know,
she was,
and lots of women wear dresses, but I got nothing for you except that that's what's coming to me, and I don't know
it's
why.
it's not about other women. That's the biggest thing because you have to remember there's millions and millions of people on the earth plane, but there's only so many connected to me that I'm going to understand as a client of yours or in this particular session. Now she's taken you to a specific part of her life when she was extremely happy and that's what she wore. So yes, and I'm not just saying that for the sake of saying that because we're on the air. I'm saying that because that's exactly what it was. I have no benefit to lie. In fact, it's not a benefit at all. In fact, we don't lie. We can't lie. That's the deal. That's part of ethics with when you're dealing with mediumship. There's no once you start lying, you're out. They won't feed you information. It's not something that because when they come in, they're not here to play games. It's very specific, right? So and that's how you have to treat it. And And so now I would just get you to calm down a little bit, just slow it down just a hair. Now, not anything to
Mm-hmm.
offend you, because that's not what it's about. It's not
No.
about offending you. It's about helping you get to the next step and understanding. Now, there's a thing about the clairs, and we work with the clairs. I strengthen your muscles, right? Because you went straight to clairvoyance because you could see quite easily, right? So I would work with your other muscles. I would have exercises to do for your other muscles, okay, to make you. So if you go to the gym, Steve, I'm gonna put it to you this one. I always put it this because it's so easy to understand. If a bodybuilder goes to the gym every day and works on straight biceps every day, how many bodybuilding championships is he going to win, right? You're not. You have to do the whole thing. So that's why I work on different muscles, do different exercises. Yeah, a hockey player playing on the perimeter all day isn't going to score too many goals. If he just plays on the outside, he doesn't get inside and do the things he needs. That's another one I typically use. But now there's a scenario in regards to something completely different than the muscles, is where we can go to how we're connecting, understanding what we're seeing and why we're seeing what we're seeing. Now, that's just like working on this tube up here, because this is a spirit world. I like to stay up here. Lots of people, when they deliver the messages, come back here and they lose their connection. And this is exactly how I tell my students, or explain it to my students, because you slide back down, now you got to reconnect. I like to stay up here, but the language you speak isn't English. So you have to stay up here and understand what to say. So you have to constantly keep moving with what they want you to hear and you to understand. They're going to send you information you're going to understand, but not all the time. And they go deeper and they go deeper, and they know what you can handle and they know what you can't handle. And sometimes you'll get stuff that you won't be able to decipher for the client, but and they just keep going with you. And that's called development. That's called developing, understanding, and it's never ending. And that's why people say we've been in it for 30 years. Man, it's just never ending, because it's never ending, because there's always more they send you. Yeah.
Wow. 4-9. Why? Why? And I'm trying to block it out, but I keep seeing a 4 and a 9. I don't know. That's 49. Fourth month.
Well,
I don't know.
4 is April, 9th is.
I don't know.
When I get two numbers, it's for a reason. So now, if a client would come and I would be reading with a client, then I would get 4 and a 9. Now, 4 would be April to me, because that's 4, or 4 would be 4 children. Typically, it's a birthday month for me. Now, that would be important to the client, and 9 would be September. Now, September would be something of importance as well. And that's how I would go about it. Now, you'll be able to understand that with what the Spirit's sending you in regards to the conversation they're having with you at the time. Now, everything links up from one thing to another to another. There's all synchronicities. So the first thing doesn't mean a whole lot, or it means the most, to the third thing where you can piece it all together to why you're getting what you're getting. That's working the turbine up here that continuously moves, and it makes you continuously work to develop your skills and your understanding of what they want to tell you. And there's many different people, many different scenarios on the earth plane. So we just can't stick with one thing, and that's why you continuously
Sure.
evolve as a medium. Yes.
And I would have to imagine that even the 4, the 9, 49, whatever it is, could be something else I'm getting. It might not even be connected to your mother, you, or your sister. There's something else. I'm getting it for a reason.
See, my favorite team is the 49ers, Steve. And you didn't know that. And you don't know that. And I had a 49er shirt on before I put this one on, actually.
Okay.
There you go. And I can walk to the other room and get that shirt too, actually, because it's sitting right there. And that is my favorite football club. Yes.
Wow. I don't know if that's substantial in even terms of what we're doing. So that being said, when somebody is first starting out and learning this process, is it like that? A lot of different things are all over, whereby when you have experience, you're able to categorize it and put it where it needs to be, as opposed to me just, I got this, I got this, I got that.
Well, that's where everybody starts, Steve. Exactly where you started right there is exactly where I started. That's where all my students start. Very few people are concert pianists. There's a lot of people who play piano, but there's only
Yep.
so many who become concert pianists. That's why when somebody tells me I know my spirit guide's name, I tell them, well, that very well might be true, but I kind of, when I have 19 out of the 20 girls in a class saying they know their spirit guides' names, I have to call whatever on it, because it's not true, because it's just impossible for that to be. But in this case, this is where everybody starts. There's no variation. Everybody, that's exactly what I'm going to do on Thursday. I got a new class starting on Thursday, and it's exactly what I'm going to get the girls to do in their very first exercises. Is other than the prep work and the starting up and getting the engines revving, I'm going to go to the place where I'm just going to get them to take a look and see exactly what they're getting. Now, just give me what you get. It doesn't matter what you get. I don't care if it's a light. I don't care if it's a black wall. I don't care if it's a tree. It all is going to have meaning. Now, when a spirit comes in for me, okay, that one thing, and it could be the ring in the nose, or it could be a nose ring, that makes me go to and the blonde hair and the fair skin, all that from the nose ring, right? So it just continuously evolves into who's here just by what that spirit is showing, and that spirit just walked in the door just like that. Okay. And then I would go into a little deeper of why the spirit's sending me and what they're sending me. Because I can clearly see this blonde haired girl. She's quite thin. She's pretty, but she has piercings. Now, there is something going on. And that's how I would go about my business, because that's what she's showing me. And that's called blending. That's a little bit different than working with your clairvoyance, which is always seeing. Now, and quite often what I'll do with my students, so they could go to the very first image and don't leave that image. And this is the hardest thing for most mediums to learn. It's called blending, soul to soul. Soul to soul is something that's very important. Any world-class medium, any medium that's starting out, any medium that schools overseas, any medium that schools with people who have schooled overseas will be able to. And the funny thing about it is the word blending is, any student will know what blending means, and how difficult sometimes it is for them to blend and to understand why blending is so important. And for me, I'll be flat out honest with you, when I was schooling overseas, one of my tutors that I followed around quite frequently and took year-long courses with, that's what he taught me to do. And that's ultimately the hardest thing for me to learn, was to be able to blend and understand why blending was so important. Now I understand why blending is so very important, because it's a completely different reading than it would have been, say, when I'm just taken out from the umbrella, right?
Do most people do what I did in terms of clairvoyance? And how do you define clairvoyance?
It's visual. Clairvoyance is going to
Okay.
be seeing. So that's why I asked you, just read me like I walked into your house. You don't know me. Just read me like I walked into your house with a friend of yours, and we're at a party. We're having a little house party, and you invited this person, and I came along with this person. And as soon as I walk in the door, you start reading me, of course, because you want to know what type of person I am. And everybody's done that subconsciously without even knowing, of course, right?
Oh, 100%. We and call a prejudge when somebody walks in a room. You try to surmise who's that person, where they're from, and sometimes there's a prejudice too, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
And then you got to put a block on there. Just about out of time. I'm going to leave you with this. It could be ridiculous. An A name, female. I'm getting a name female. I don't know what that means. If there's anybody in your world,
Okay.
I want to say Alice popped in my head, but I don't know if there's, whatever that I never met, maybe I met her once. My father's mother, I was named Alice. I mean, I don't know why that name popped in my head. That's what I got. I share it.
Okay.
Could mean nothing, but it was there. It was like Alice, and I don't know why. So
Never let that slide by, because that might be the most important thing that you get with who's sending you, with what the information that they're sending you. That's why never, always surrender and trust. Those are the two key words for sure.
you know what? Those two keywords mean it all. And it's surrender is just stop thinking, just give it up, just to open yourself up, and then trust in what you're getting, and don't become frustrated because you're getting it for a reason. And again, the analogy I get is I have folders and I can't put them in the folders because I don't know where they belong. You can, because of your experience and how you've really crafted what you do. You get a piece of information, it goes in a folder, you deliver the information that is correct onto the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I feel like I'm just all over the place, but of course I am. I know what I'm doing. Right?
And you should be, because that's great. What you just did was beautiful. It's great. Perfect. That's
Right,
where you want to be.
Go 49ers. I don't know.
Absolutely.
At least I got one. I got one there. I don't know. And the park.
Well, you gotta,
and I literally,
the park.
There's not a reason I said that just randomly. I said it because I saw it. I saw you in a park, and like your thing. That's your thing. You like going to this park, and it's not far from where you are. You walk there.
The greatest thing about what you said about that park was there was a round track. Now there is a round track at this one particular park that I do go to. And we walked that track quite a bit, and I did it for exercise and I did it for peace of mind. I could walk around that track blind. I could walk around it, never pick my head up once, and just think my way through it developing.
Yeah. And I saw this, again, random, but yeah, it's super cool today. I'm glad we did this. It really made me think and use the intuition that we all have. And this is, 15 minutes that we spent on this. If even that, imagine class after class after class. Your website for anybody that wants to try this is your name, timmedium.com. So TIM medium.com. Free conversation to see if somebody's in the zone, feeling, what could be coming next. But that was cool. I think
it too.
Next gathering at my place, I'm gonna try that. Let's all sit down and just try. Yeah, and just be honest with each other. If it's true, validate it and not. Thank you for being here today, Tim.
Thank you, Steve. I enjoyed it very much. So, very good show. I liked it.
Same here.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.